Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and I am so sorry that I have barely uploaded this week. It has been the craziest first week back into it, and I'm hoping that next week I can kind of get back to my 3 videos a week routine and actually upload for you. But today I'm talking about something that I am so passionate about. I've had so many requests from you guys to talk about it, and I think it was number 10 on my New Year's resolutions video, which I'll have listed in the description. And that is to learn to be alone and to love being alone. I love being alone. I never thought I would ever say that. If you had have gone to me 8 years ago and said, would you enjoy being alone? Would you like living alone? I would have said, no way. And I know this because on multiple occasions out loud to other people, I actually said to them, I will never live alone because I just need people around me. And I think back to that version of myself and I'm just like, no, nope, never, ever, 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 ever do I want to go back to being that person. I am so much happier now. I know so much more than what I did then. And I want to maintain the skills and the ability to love being alone for the rest of my life. Even if I get married and if I choose to have kids and something goes wrong and I'm all alone, I want to feel the way that I do now. I don't ever want to lose myself to other people, and I want to enjoy being alone for the rest of my life. And that sounds really sad, but it's not. You don't need to be living alone like I do to be alone. You don't have to have no friends or no family to learn to be alone. And if you do have no friends and no family, then learning to be alone is going to be really, really helpful. My story starts 2 years ago this week, actually. This week, 2 years ago, I moved to Melbourne, and it's the first time that I started living alone. And the things that I have learned in the last 2 years are some of the most valuable things that I've ever learned in my entire life. I moved across the country by myself, which I'd done multiple times before, but this time it just felt different. I worked through my anxiety to a point where 2 years later, I'm very rarely anxious, and when I am, it's over something really, really big or something I'm really passionate about, and it's not as intense, and the feeling isn't all consuming like it used to be, which is awesome. I stopped taking my antidepressant medication and got over my depression, which is awesome. And the biggest part is I learned to love being alone. I love my alone time so much. I love spending time with my friends and my family, but I love my time just as much. So the first reason why learning to love being alone is so good for you is that once you learn to love yourself and love your time and love being by yourself, your relationships actually strengthen. Your friendships, your family relationships, your boyfriend, girlfriend, all of those relationships just get so much better. There's more trust in the relationships, there's more confidence in the relationships. I think that is so, so important. The relationships I have now just seem to be such a better dynamic than what they were when I was younger. The second reason why it's so great is you are no longer afraid to lose people. And it sounds really terrible, but you're not. You're not afraid to have a relationship end. If a friend wants to say that they hate you and walk away from you, you're not as afraid to lose it anymore because you know that there are other relationships, or you can make better relationships. Or if a boyfriend or girlfriend wants to end things with you, you're not as afraid. I'm not afraid to lose the people in my life because I have confidence that we are maintaining a good relationship and that I'm working on me. I'm working on my contribution to those relationships. So whatever they choose to do to the relationship, if they choose to destroy it, they choose to mess up, do something really awful to me, that has nothing to do with me. That is entirely on them. And all I have to do is let that relationship go, walk away, and work on the other relationships I have and build new relationships. All I can do is work on my side and they can work on theirs. And I think when you learn to love being alone and learn to be alone, that becomes so much more simpler. You know those relationships where one person is just obsessed over the other one and is telling them what they can and can't do, who they can and can't talk to? It's because they are afraid of being alone. It's because they are not comfortable with themselves. So once you learn to be alone and learn to be comfortable with yourself, you just are able to have a much healthier relationship with everyone around you. You can emotionally support yourself, and this is the huge one. When I get upset these days, I come home. I come home to my safe haven and I stay here alone and I support myself emotionally. I need to have the best relationship with myself, because if everybody disappeared from my life, the only person that I am left with is me. And I need to have the best relationship with me. And I do not want other people to support me, because if they're not there and something goes wrong, who's going to support me? Myself. And so I need to make sure that I can support myself. And it's actually a really fun challenge every time I'm feeling like crap and every time I'm really upset to like fix it myself. I don't pick up the phone as much as I used to. I don't talk to my friends or my family or my boyfriend as much as I used to. I talk to myself. I work it out on my own. Not everything can be achieved on your own. You can't work through everything on your own. Sometimes issues involve other people and you need to communicate with them and you need to talk to them. But when I'm feeling upset, I support myself emotionally. And ever since I learned to do that, that is by far the greatest achievement out of all of learning to live alone, is being emotionally supported by myself. And I enjoy it. And now I challenge myself when I'm feeling like crap. I'm like, let's see if I can get over this in a shorter amount of time than dragging on for a whole day or a couple of days. And I like that. That's like my favorite part about having learnt to be alone. You're just generally a much stronger person. You can handle tougher situations, you can deal with all the things that are thrown at you, and you can stay a little bit more emotionally stable when things do get tough. And I think that's really, really important. You become more self-aware, which is something I think we all need to do. We need to be very aware of the words and our actions and the effect that they have on other people, because we can be really nasty creatures sometimes and say really awful things, and we need to learn to be nice. And when you learn to be alone, you learn to be more self-aware. You learn the kind of person you are and your effect on the people around you and your effect on the world. And it's such a nice thing to kind of see how you impact people and how you affect people. And if you learn to be alone and you realize you don't like how you affect people, then you can change it. If there's things that you do and you're like, oh, that was so awful, you can change it. You don't want to be one of those people that is so unaware of their behavior and so unaware of the type of person they are. Like, I know a few people that just are oblivious to their actions and they victimize themselves, and like, you just don't want to be that person. And being alone really helps with your self-awareness to be able to be the best version of yourself. So how does one become more comfortable with being alone? Spend more time alone. You don't have to live alone. You don't have to end relationships or stop hanging out with people. It's just making time for yourself. And at first it's really hard. Like, I remember when I first moved here and I was alone, like, I was anxious and feeling yuck all the time. But after 2 years, you kind of get used to it, and then that yuck feeling goes away, and then you enjoy it. So it's about giving yourself little bits of time. If you are so used to being around other people, give yourself 10 minutes complete alone time. Go for a walk. Find a place that you can spend time alone. Maybe there's like a nice park bench somewhere that you just go and sit, be alone. Be in your room alone, or be on the other side of the house to anyone else. Go outside. Just find some alone time, and do not be on social media, okay? Social media is not technically being alone, even though it's not real human interaction or contact. It's technically not being alone, so that doesn't count. But just sit somewhere, 5-10 minutes, and just be with your thoughts. Just be with who you are. And over time, extend that amount of time, extend that period that you're spending time alone. Maybe turn it into an hour once a week. Turn it into an hour a couple times a week. Turn it into an hour every single day. Or next thing you know, it might be an entire day alone. Take a Saturday, spend one morning being entirely alone. Go do some shopping, do some groceries, go out to a cafe, have dinner by yourself, go to breakfast by yourself. I do this stuff all the time. If I'm like, I really want this meal and I don't have anyone to go with, I'm going to dinner by myself. Like, I don't need someone to go to dinner with. And you've got to stop thinking about what other people think too when you're alone. Like, it's okay to have lunch alone. It's okay to have dinner alone. Don't worry what everyone else is thinking in the restaurant or whatever, because chances are they're probably not even paying attention to you. And just extend that time that you're alone. And then if you really, really want to challenge your amount of time that you're spending alone, go away by yourself for a couple of days, go camping for a couple of days, go, house sit for someone that's away for a week and stay at their place completely alone. And the more time you start to spend by yourself, the easier it becomes, and the more you learn to love it. So it is very hard. It's taken me 2 years to get to a point where I'm so comfortable. Don't think it's gonna happen tomorrow. Don't think it's gonna happen overnight, but just start with 5-10 minutes. And that's the best thing that you can do. Do it right now. After you finish this video, switch off the internet, go and make a cup of tea or coffee or whatever, and go and find somewhere quiet and alone and just sit there for 5 minutes and do nothing but drink your tea. See what thoughts come into your mind. See what kind of person you are, and observe your thoughts and pay attention to yourself. Another thing you can do also, on saying observing yourself and being more self-aware, is meditation. Meditation is huge. It's something that I definitely need to talk about more on my channel, but meditating can really help in learning to be more comfortable with yourself and becoming more self-aware. So yeah, I hope this video has been somewhat helpful. I do plan to do many more in-depth videos. What I should do is maybe do a question and answers video on this topic. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below and I can answer them in regards to being alone. I know I've been scratching my face a lot in this video because I probably have fluff on my face and it makes me itchy. So yeah, that's just some observation I made of myself right now. Anyway, so I hope this video has been somewhat helpful. It is not the last of this kind. I will be talking about this topic many, many more times. Let's do some questions. Let's find out what you guys want to know about being alone. And up the top here, you can check out my last video. Down the bottom, I will leave a link to another one of my videos. And I will see you on Monday for my Motivation Monday video. Bye!